Hey guys, it's Sagar. In this video, I'm going to do a quick and short unboxing of this iPhone 13 Pro, tell you guys what all it offers, and then give you guys my initial impressions about it. Now, after having used the iPhone XS Max, 11 Pro Max and the 12 Pro Max for a long time, this time I decided to go for the regular 13 Pro because I think it offers a much more manageable form factor. And this time, it gets all the same features, including the new set of cameras and the ProMotion display like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but without the added bulk. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss out any of the videos about the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 that are coming up on this channel. With all of that out of the way, let us get back to this iPhone 13 Pro. Now, I did really like the Sierra blue color that Apple introduced with the iPhone 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Max. So I decided to go with the evergreen Graphite color. And this is the base variant of this phone, which comes with 128GB of built-in storage. I got this one for 1,19,900 rupees. But if you go with some of the credit card offers, you can get it for a lower price. This year, for the first time, you can configure your iPhone 13 Pro or the 13 Pro Max with 1TB of internal storage. Alright, with that, let us get to this phone's unboxing. Now, the box of this phone is just as thin as the box of the iPhone 12 series phones that came out last year. So if any of you are hoping that this year Apple is going to add the charger back into the box, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. This time, in an effort to reduce the use of plastic, Apple did not include the plastic wrapping that we normally peel off these iPhone boxes. Instead, the box is sealed by these small pull tab stickers. If you have purchased an Apple Watch or an iMac in the last 3 or 4 years, you might have seen this type of seal before. So pulling these two tabs, turning the box and sliding the lid, which comes off way too easily this time, we get our first look at the new iPhone 13 Pro, which is sitting at the top. I really like how the graphite color looks on this frosted matte back. Sides of the iPhone 13 Pro are made of shiny stainless steel and they look excellent, but they also gather a ton of fingerprints and smudges, and this right here is the cleanest that this phone is ever going to look. Alright, let me remove the protective sticker off the display. I will also turn on the phone to have a look at that smaller notch, and by the time it turns on, let us check out the other things in the box. Other than the iPhone 13 Pro, you just get this USB Type-C to Lightning cable, a SIM tray ejection pin, leaflets with warranty and regulatory information, and one Apple sticker. And just like last year, there is no charger or earpods in the box. While other companies are giving us 65 or even 120 watt chargers in the box, Apple is not even giving us the painfully slow 5 watt charger in the box anymore. Let me keep all these things aside and get back to the phone. One of the few visual changes that can tell the iPhone 13 Pro apart from the iPhone 12 Pro is its smaller notch. Can you tell that it is smaller? Here, look at it against the notch of the iPhone 12, which has the same size notch as the iPhone 12 Pro. And now you can see how much smaller it is. If you want numbers, this new notch is 20% smaller than before. Even though the notch is smaller, there is not much more information that Apple will display in the area besides it. There is enough space for it, but we still can't even have the battery percentage displayed there. Now dimension wise, it is the same 6.1 inch display as the iPhone 12 Pro, but the tech behind this is a bit different. It is still OLED, resolution is the same at 2532 by 1170 pixels, it is still Super Retina XDR display, has wide P3 color gamut, supports HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Now it gets 1000 nits of typical brightness, highest among any iPhones, and 1200 nits of peak brightness for HDR content. And most important of all, this display gets adaptive refresh rate that can go from as low as 10Hz to 120Hz. Even after using numerous phones with 120Hz refresh rate over the last 1.5 years, this feature still doesn't excite me as much as it does some of the other enthusiasts. But I'm still happy that we are finally getting it on this year's Pro iPhones. This display is covered by the same strong ceramic shield glass like the iPhone 12 Pro. Sides are still flat, which I love, and they are made of shiny stainless steel and have a subtle shade of the back color to it. All the buttons and ports are on the same side as they were on the iPhone 12 Pro, but they are now placed a bit lower, so they are slightly easier to reach, which is good. Now the last visual change to differentiate the iPhone 13 Pro from the 12 Pro, other than the newer color, smaller notch and slightly lower placement of the buttons, is a new much larger camera module which houses 3 new cameras with the largest camera lenses on any iPhone yet. We still get 3 12MP cameras and a LiDAR sensor. Primary or the wide camera now gets a much bigger 12MP sensor with a wider f1.5 aperture, 26mm lens and sensor shift image stabilization. Ultra-wide angle lens also gets a wider f1.8 aperture, 13mm lens and focusing capabilities, so you can now get super close to any subject and take macro shots with it. The telephoto camera now gets a 77mm lens with f2.8 aperture, which gives us a 3x optical zoom compared to the primary lens. So that is it for the exterior of this iPhone 13 Pro. Yes, it is also a bit thicker and a few grams heavier than the iPhone 12 Pro, but I really don't think that you will notice the difference, maybe unless you have both the phones side by side in two hands. Inside the iPhone 13 Pro, we get a new A15 Bionic processor, which is a 6-core CPU with a 5-core GPU, which means it has one more GPU core than the iPhone 13 and 13 mini, and a 16-core neural engine on board, and it also gets 6GB of RAM, which is 2GB more than the regular iPhone 13 and 13 mini. This phone now gets a 3125 mAh battery, which is 11% bigger than last year, and is one of the reasons why the iPhone 13 Pro is a hair thicker and slightly heavier. When it is time to charge it, you will have to purchase a USB Type-C charger to use with the included lightning cable, which by the way will cost you 1900 rupees. And if you use that or an even faster charger, the battery will go from 0 to 50% in just 30 minutes. And yeah, the iPhone 13 Pro also comes with 5G antennas and supports most of the bands, but since 5G is non-existent in India right now, and most likely will be so for the next year, I still don't care much about it. For the software, it is running iOS 15 out of the box, and combining that with the A15 processor, performance should be stellar on this iPhone 13 Pro for years to come. Unlike the regular iPhone 13 lineup, this iPhone 13 Pro does bring some major improvements and groundbreaking tech over the last year's iPhone 12 Pro. While these things might not be new to the smartphone world, but they are definitely new to the iPhones, like the 120Hz ProMotion mode, 1000 nits of typical peak brightness for the display, the biggest main sensor on any iPhone yet, macro mode on the ultra-wide angle lens, and 3x optical zoom for the first time, ability to shoot Dolby Vision HDR videos now at 4K 60fps, cinematic mode, ProRes video, and much more. I am very excited about all the improvements that this new iPhone 13 Pro brings with it, and I am more happy that this time all the new hardware and software features are same across the iPhone 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Max. So if you think the iPhone 13 Pro Max is too big for you, then you can just get the iPhone 13 Pro like I did, and unlike last year, you won't be missing out on anything. If you guys have been following this channel for some time, you guys know that I'm already working on a detailed camera review of this phone, and it will be coming up on the channel very soon. Not just that, I have many other videos including a full comparison with the iPhone 13 coming out in the next few days. So make sure to have all the notifications for this channel turned on. Until then, if you want to get this iPhone 13 Pro, I will really appreciate if you get it from the affiliate links in the description section. So these have been my initial impressions about this iPhone 13 Pro. But what do you guys think about it, and which of the new colors is your favorite one? Let me know in the comments. That is it for this video guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to the channel for a lot more coverage on this iPhone 13 Pro and the regular iPhone 13. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.